Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we have the AEW 2026 Owen Hart Cup Tournament. Now this is a tournament that's always very special. Every single year we have great winners. Every single year the tournament's always good. The finals always ends up being a really good finals. Last year obviously the big winner was Hangman Adam Page coming out on top and having the huge story going into All In. And now this year there's really no huge story going around it. It's kind of like the Will Ospreay thing surrounding him and what group is he going to join. Is he going to join a group? But however, on the women's side, there's a lot of kind of special appearances that I'm really liking the looks of.
Yeah, this tournament looks really good on paper. We have a lot of great participants, and I think, like typical, we'll get at least 3 good matches, as we do kind of every year. Like you said, the finals will always be amazing, and then I'm sure one of these semifinal or quarterfinals matches will also be some bangers as well.
And kicking things off on the women's side of the Owen Hart Cup Tournament, at Double or Nothing, we're going to see Persephone versus Hazuki. So someone who's double contracted in Persephone with AEW and CMLL, and then Hazuki, someone who's part of that Stardom roster, who I've been kind of dipping my toes a little bit more in the Stardom waters, and Hazuki is one of the ones who I've been liking a lot recently. It's very good timing for me to have a favorite in Stardom, and she's coming over to AEW to have this big match, so that'll be a big exciting one. But as far as the winner for that one, I am going to expect Persephone to pick up the win. What about you?
Yeah, for me, I'm not too familiar with either of these women. I've seen a little bit more of Persephone than I have of Hazuki. But I mean, we're going to take this match as kind of like a tester and like a learning match to learn both women. To hopefully see them again someday in AEW, because at least we know for Persephone, we know that she's a double contracted person, like you mentioned. So yeah, I'm sure we'll see a little bit more of her as we did in Ring of Honor as well. So for this match, I will also go with Persephone to get the win. Like I said, we have seen her a little bit more on AEW TV, so I think it just makes sense for her to progress further in the tournament.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of one of those things where when you come into one company, you don't expect that company's person to take the L, and I don't think it's going to be too much of a difference on this night. But on the next match, we have Willow Nightingale versus Alex Windsor. So two kind of big names. Alex Windsor is a rising name in AEW right now. Who's kind of been having these really good matches in the tag team division specifically, but now she's going to get to dip her toes in the singles division and against Willow Nightingale, who's one of the biggest stars on AEW right now. So this will be a very exciting and big match. And as far as a prediction for this one, I am going to go with Willow Nightingale. She is the kind of the bigger name, but I think I would rather Alex Windsor win. If I could pick, I would pick Alex Windsor, but I do think Tony himself will go with Willow Nightingale advancing in here. But her versus Persephone would be a very good finals. Even if it is Hazuki, that would also be a very good semifinals. But yeah, I will go with Willow Nightingale to pick up the win.
Yeah, this match definitely is the biggest quarterfinal match we have so far in this women's bracket. I'm definitely interested to see who comes out on top of that. Whoever does end up winning this match, I do think they will end up going to the finals on this side of the bracket. But with that being said, I do think I am going to go with Willow Nightingale to advance. Like you said, I don't mind Alex Windsor going on and making a name for herself during this tournament, but I just feel like Willow Nightingale, we already kind of see the momentum she's building. She did just come off the loss of the women's tag team belts, but she's still holding that TBS title very strong. So I think we'll see her kind of go into the finals, probably looking very good, maybe the odds-on favorite, but I do think we'll see her eventually lose.
And for the semifinals on this side of the bracket, that would lead us to Persephone versus Willow Nightingale. And who do you think would win that?
I'm going to go with Willow Nightingale. Like I said, I do think that she's going to be the odds-on favorite going into this. She is a former winner, so it makes sense for her to have a good run in this tournament as well. Like I said, if Alex Windsor is in this same spot, I do imagine her to go on to the finals. But yeah, I think Willow Nightingale will take it on. But this could be a very interesting match, seeing the different style Persephone bring out of Willow.
I think myself, I'm going to go with Persephone. I think she's kind of the young star coming up, the new star coming up, if anything. And I think it would be a big win for her to kind of advance at least to the finals. Then on the other side of the bracket, we have Mina Shirakawa versus Athena. This, unfortunately, looks like it's going to kind of be a sweeping round for Athena. I don't really see Mina Shirakawa picking up the win, unfortunately. But I do think this will be a banger match. This will be a very exciting one. I do believe we've seen them have a match together in Ring of Honor before. But this is going to be a little bit more special, being part of the Owen Hart Cup tournament, of course.
This match, I do think the winner is a little bit obvious in Athena. I think this is her tournament to lose. I think she's going to have a very good run with a lot of good matches, especially in that second round. We'll get to that a little bit later, obviously. But yeah, I think Athena could make easy work of Mina Shirakawa here. It could be a really good match. And yeah, hopefully, like I said, Athena really picked up some momentum. Hopefully, this all leading up to an eventual call-up to the official AEW main roster.
And then on the other side, we have Sky Blue versus Sari. Now, this is one where I could could maybe see the other brand get the win, and I could see Saria advance. She's obviously kind of like a legend in the wrestling space at this point. Like, a lot of people have a lot of love for her, and she's very, very popular. So yeah, I'm very much expecting her to get the win and to advance here.
Yeah, I'm in that same camp as well. I'm going to go with Saria to pick up the win here. This is definitely going to be an amazing match between her and Athena in that semifinals. So hopefully, whenever it does end up happening, it does get it does get a good chunk of time. Whether I'm assuming it being on a Dynamite. So yeah, definitely going to be a really good first match. I'm interested to see what Saria and AEW could really bring to the table.
And then in the semifinals on that side of the bracket, it would be Saria versus Athena. A huge match, a very exciting match, of course, and definitely one that I'm expecting to happen. So those two, I feel like, are a lot to move forward. But who do you think would win that insane matchup between Athena and Saria?
I think this was definitely a hard one, but like I said, I'm gonna go with Athena to go all the way. I think obviously Saria could definitely have a big performance here, and this could lead to her maybe even end up joining AEW in some fashion, or at least being another dual contract signed person. But I think Athena wins here. But this match, I do have really high expectations for, and I think if it were to happen, this is probably gonna be your women's match of the year if they give the right amount of time.
I myself would go also with Saria. I think it just kind of has to happen. It would be nice to see Athena go all the way to the finals and then to face, in my case, Persephone, in your case, Willow Nightingale. But I think I myself will go with Saria to advance to the finals. So on my side of the bracket, I would have in the finals Persephone versus Saria. Now that's obviously a banger match. I think that would be an amazing match to have between the two, a kind of clash of different styles as well. On your side of the bracket in the finals, we would have Willow Nightingale versus Athena. Now who do you have winning on your side?
I am going to go with Athena. I think if she's going to go all the way to the finals, there's no reason why she should lose and Willow should go on to be a double champion again. I think that's something that we've kind of seen, but I do think that she's definitely capable of holding that down and having a great run with both champions. But I do think Athena, this is the moment here at Forbidden Door, gets the big call up, gets a win, has a title match at All In set up now for her. I think it's all for her now. And yeah, I think when she does get that match, I do imagine her walking out of All In as your new world champion. And like I said, the new face of the women's side in AEW.
So you have Athena going on to the finals and taking it down. However, on my side, I have Persephone versus Saria, and I'm going to go ahead and have Persephone. So we both kind of had the same idea, picking the kind of new star to the main roster of AEW coming in getting the big win, but I'm gonna have Persephone kind of taking that big dub, the new CMLL signing. I think that would be an amazing finals either way, whether we see Persephone and Saria or we see Willow Nightingale versus Athena. I think either way would be an amazing finals. And then on the men's side, we have Will Ospreay versus Samoa Joe kicking things off, and unfortunately on the men's side, it does kind of feel like an obvious winner when there's Will Ospreay in the ring.
We're not too far away from his return still, so I do think we're going to continue the momentum of Will Ospreay. I think he picks up a good win here versus Samoa Joe. Should be a pretty fun match. We could see another pay-per-view match from Ospreay versus Samoa Joe. Could be very fun. I'm interested to see what type of route they take it. Will it get more hard-hitting like the Samoa Joe matches typically tend to get, or is Ospreay going to be able to just dominate Samoa Joe?
Yeah, I'm going to, of course, go with Will Ospreay to take the win here. And then on the other side of his bracket, we have Mark Davis versus Jack Perry. So obviously a kind of like a new feud between these guys. Mark Davis just taking that title away from Jack Perry. So I guess we'll see kind of if they want to advance and see if they could go head towards that world title, if they could take another dub here. But Mark Davis versus Jack Perry, I'm going to go with Mark Davis to take another win. Who do you have?
Yeah, it does feel a little bit weird that Mark Davis got the win over and to take his belt. Jack Perry calls him out, but I also have Mark Davis pinning him and winning and advancing to that semifinal. I think there's a better story between Mark Davis and Will Ospreay, obviously the former history in United Empire. So I think it makes sense there, but it does suck for Jack Perry. Loses his belt, calls him out, loses again. A little bit sucky, but he has business at Double or Nothing to take care of in that Stadium Stampede. So I think his mind will be more focused on that than this match.
We both have Will Ospreay and Mark Davis heading out in the semifinals, and I think I'm going to keep on with my prediction and go with Will Ospreay taking down Mark Davis.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as well. I think Mark Davis will give him a great fight. I think we'll see a lot of big moves in this match, especially from Mark Davis. But like you said, I got Will Ospreay.
Then on the other side of the bracket, we have Swerve Strickland versus Bandito. Now this is going to be an amazing match, potentially the best match on the entire Owen Hart Cup tournament. And yeah, this is going to be one that people are going to be very excited for. This is going to be one that could like steal the show and steal the entire tournament, as I mentioned. But I will go ahead and pick Swerve Strickland. He is kind of just the biggest star, the bigger name. He needs his spot at All In, and maybe this is a way that he could earn it if he can take down the entire tournament.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting one. Bandito has simmered down a little bit since the start of the year. I feel like, obviously, the start of the year, we see him going after the world champion already versus MJF. So it does feel like we could kick up the heat again for him and go back to pushing him in the world title scene. But I'll also agree with you. I think Swerve Strickland will pick up the win here. But whoever does end up winning this match, whether it is Swerve or Bandito, I do think they will also be the person going into that finals match as well.
And then on the other side of their bracket, we have Claudio versus Brody King. Now, these two is kind of like a weird thing where it's like everyone would love a Claudio Castagnoli world title run. We all know that. Brody King, kind of the same thing. But at the same time, right now, doesn't feel like the time where either of them is going to win a world title. Brody King is kind of on an upward trajectory right now, I would say. Claudio's kind of been stagnant for a very long time in AEW, just kind of stuck in that Death Riders tag team, BCC, you know, all of the clubs that he's been part of and everything. But I don't feel like either one of these guys have a chance of winning. But to win this match between Claudio and Brody King, I will go with Brody King.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Brody King as well. I think he's the easy option for this match because either way, if you have him go to the semifinals and if it's Swerve going against him in the semis, you have a great story there to kind of revisit that story that we did a few weeks or a few months ago at this point with them kind of kicking off who's the most dangerous man. But if you have Bandito come out and he is in the semifinals as well, then you have that clash of Brody King, Bandito. We finally never got it, but yeah, it happens there in the finals. So either way, I think they have themselves kind of booked in a good spot.
So we both have the same finals coming up with Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland, a rematch from last year. And that was one of the greatest matches of the year on the year last year. Obviously, they kind of teamed up together a little bit later to help Hangman Adam Page get to that world title shot and win that world title at All In. But this year, they're going to be clashing back and forth with each other to try to take that shot for themselves.
Yeah, this is going to be a very tough one to predict. I think the easy ride is obviously going to be Will Ospreay, but we see him kind of as this tweener role. He is still a babyface, I will say, but he has that he kind of looks like he is starting to like being in the Death Rise. We've seen the segment on Dynamite this week, so who knows kind of where we'll be at going into Forbidden Door and then to All In season. But Swerve Strickland, he is the heel right now. I think there's a good story you can tell of the two Seattle boys kind of going at it in the world title picture. It would be really nice, but in the end, I do think Will Ospreay gets his win back. He lost last year in the finals. I don't think we're going to send him back to the finals to lose again. And unfortunately for Swerve, it's just not his time right now.
Yeah, I am going to go ahead and agree with you. I think Will Ospreay, it's been his time to win the title since he signed with AEW, and now it's even more so his time coming back from injury and having this kind of weird storyline going on with the Death Riders and everything. The culmination of that has to end in a world title finally at All In. So that would be the most exciting thing you can do, and I do think that is the best option. I think AEW, since passing the title over to Darby Allin, has been an amazing run for Darby Allin. He's had amazing matches every single week. We just seen him wrap up a match with Konosuke Takeshita, and that was also amazing. But at the same time, I do think we need Will Ospreay to have gold. Just kind of gonna be a weird time to see if Will Ospreay will be the one to face Darby Allin, or maybe there will be a title change in between then and All In, and someone else will be that champion.
Owen Hart produces a lot of good moments, and obviously it is the real kickoff for All In season. So yeah, whoever wins the women's or the men's side, we know they will probably have a world title shot at All In. So yeah, it's definitely going to set up a lot of big moments. Who knows who will be the champions? Like you mentioned, will it be MJF as your men's world champion? Will Thekla still be the world champion? So yeah, there's a lot of things that could definitely happen between now and the finals. So yeah, should be really fun to run.
This is pretty much the Royal Rumble of AEW. It leads you into their biggest event, as you mentioned, and this is going to be a very exciting one to get into. So let us know who you have going into the finals and winning both of these tournaments on the men's side and the women's side, and then leave a like, subscribe, do all that junk, and yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.